So can synthetic e-fuels and CO2 utilisation related to biofuels be part of the solution? Let's start by exploring the environmental impact and talk about carbon neutral or negative carbon fuels. What does this really mean, Steve?
Thanks, Rob. Pleasure to be with you. Well, the production of a fuel can be carbon neutral or carbon negative. Also, important to consider is its use. For example, ammonia and hydrogen have no CO2 emissions when used. Synthetic e-fuels or synthetic methanol does emit CO2. We refer to Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3 emissions over the full life cycle, and all must be considered for a full carbon negative declaration. Furthermore, we must think beyond carbon neutrality to climate neutrality, meaning the CO2 equivalents of methane emissions must also be considered. As an example, biogas or biomethane renewable LNG is low carbon, but if there are methane leaks, it can have a very negative climate impact. Lastly, we must understand the principles of carbon accounting and life cycle analysis before we begin to attach labels, such as carbon neutral or climate neutral. For example, the displacement of fossil fuels or the avoidance of alternative pathways can have a positive effect on the carbon accounting calculations.